WXII 12 News at 10 on the Triad CW starts now.
Thanksgiving is just a few days away. That means many more cars will be out on the road, including law enforcement. Coming up, we're going to talk about the challenges police face this time of the year.
My daughter said she was kicking and screaming and nobody heard nothing.
It's a trip to the bus stop that man says his teenage daughter will never forget, and now the search is on for a rape suspect.
Plus, why two top White House officials were in North Carolina today taking aim at local sheriffs. But first tonight, if you are one of the millions of Americans preparing to go somewhere significant this holiday season, expect to see more flashing blue lights on the roads.
Yep, state, city, and county level law enforcement agencies are all anticipating more traffic and, of course, more speeders. Our Brandon Bates joins us live tonight in Winston-Salem. Brandon, how's the sheriff's office getting ready for the challenges that do come along with this time of year?
Well, they do have a lot of challenges ahead of them because, as usual, as we all know, traffic will increase this time of the year. And while it may be an inconvenience for drivers looking out for police on the road, they want you to know they're just trying to keep you safe.
Everybody has an excuse, 365 days a year.
Lieutenant Davenport has heard every excuse in the book when pulling people over.
675 Grapevine Road.
You try and use empathy, but at the same time, we have a job. We have, the safety of the public to keep in mind.
And with one of the busiest travel times of the year upon us, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office is prepared.
We just encourage the guys to, be ready for the traffic and the increased number of people in our county.
Davenport says it's not just an increase in cars on the road, but with more families and coworkers gathering for the holidays.
You're scanning your mirrors, you're watching the car in front of you, watching the mannerisms.
More people are drinking alcohol.
Some people don't drink as much until the holidays get here, and we start seeing an uptick in alcohol-related stops.
He says he understands people's frustrations when they get pulled over this time of the year and just wants people to obey the law to make everybody's life easier.
It can be tough having to work the holidays.
While the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office doesn't increase the actual number of people working around Thanksgiving, the job does get harder.
It's tough on family and the guys. They don't get to see their kids, especially if they have young children.
Davenport says despite the long hours away from family, most deputies realize what they're doing is important work and they're keeping people safe. And officers say it's pretty simple. If you obey the laws, you shouldn't be stopped out on the roads leading up to Thanksgiving. And they say the increased police presence is only to help you stay safe as well as everybody else out on the road. Reporting live in Winston-Salem tonight, Brandon Bates, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Brandon. And in Greensboro, the police department's getting ready to begin its No Need to Speed initiative on Wednesday. In Mebane today, leaders kicked off the statewide Click It or Ticket campaign. The mission here is to raise awareness about how dangerous it can be to not wear your seatbelt on the road. Governor Roy Cooper served as the keynote speaker, and we'll have more with the governor in just a moment. RDU Airport in Raleigh says it is bracing to break records during the holiday travel season. Officials say the Sunday after Thanksgiving could be the busiest day in the airport's history, with 232 total departures and an estimated 54,000 passengers that day alone. If you're planning to fly to your Thanksgiving destination, plan to get to the airport at least 2 hours before your flight and expect busy terminals.
New at 10, a guilty plea from a 21-year-old man from Winston-Salem who sent false shooting and bomb threats to more than 2,400 schools in both this country and Great Britain. The Justice Department says Timothy Vaughn, seen here, was part of a group of hackers known as the Apophis Squad. He was arrested back in February. He entered those guilty pleas to multiple counts of conspiring to make threats and possessing child pornography.
Happening now, Alamance County authorities are asking for your help to find a missing teenager. 15-year-old Kayla Bradley was last seen 5 days ago at her house in Elon. Investigators say she may have left in a dark four-door vehicle and maybe with a man named Alex Fox. At that time, she was wearing a dark gray hoodie with pink lettering, dark blue jeans, and red high-top sneakers. Call the Alamance County Sheriff's Office if you've seen Kayla or know where she is.
Happening now in Winston-Salem. Police say they're trying to find a man who was wanted for raping a 15-year-old girl. This happened on Colton Street late last week, Friday morning, not far from Easton Elementary School. We talked to a man who says he is the father of that victim. WXII 12 is choosing not to reveal his identity so that we may protect his daughter's identity. He tells us his girl was walking back from escorting her younger siblings to the bus stop when she was grabbed, held down, and raped in a front yard. He says he wants justice for his daughter, who is traumatized.
I have to wake up and hear my daughter cry every morning. Every morning. My daughter said she was kicking and screaming and nobody heard nothing. I don't understand that. Like, it's a busy road right here. It's a real big, busy road, so I mean, some got to give. I just hope they get them.
Police say they believe the man was walking in the neighborhood when this assault happened. Investigators have spoken to the young woman to get a better description of who her attacker might have been.
A Summerfield man accused of sexually abusing a child in the Rockingham County Detention Center is in the detention center, under a $1 million bond. Deputies there have charged 64-year-old Harry Willard Sr. with statutory sex offense and indecent liberties with a child.
Police in Graham say they've arrested 5 people during a demonstration yesterday calling for Alamance County to end a deal between the sheriff's office and ICE. Hundreds of people chanted and held up signs as part of this agreement. Undocumented immigrants picked up by ICE agents are held in the county jail. Police say they charged 1 person with wearing a mask on public property and 4 others with failure to disperse.
New tonight, the Trump administration's leaders on immigration enforcement spent part of their day in Raleigh. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf and ICE Director Matt Albence met with lawmakers to talk about the dangers of refusing ICE detainers. During today's roundtable, the White House officials cited a recent case in Durham where an undocumented immigrant was released and then killed someone.
This was a preventable tragedy, and unfortunately it may occur again and again because local officials here in North Carolina have chosen to place the welfare of criminal aliens over the welfare of the American people.
There should be nothing political about removing dangerous, recidivist criminals from our streets. And it's incredibly unfortunate that there are those who value their own political self-interests over the safety and security of their constituents.
Governor Roy Cooper vetoed House Bill 370, which would have forced sheriffs to cooperate with ICE detainers or be removed from office by a judge. He says the bill was unconstitutional. The governor's office says today's event was about politicians scoring political points and not about improving the safety of North Carolinians. Forsyth County Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough and Guilford County Sheriff Danny Rogers have both said that they would not comply with the detainers.
North Carolina teachers hoping for a pay raise are still playing the waiting game right now with the General Assembly. Lawmakers have left Raleigh for the holidays. Governor Cooper told our Bill O'Neill today there are no talks scheduled before the end of the year.
No pay raises for teachers, school workers, community college or university educators. And right now, the two sides don't even agree on what they disagree about. We caught up with Governor Cooper today during a Click It or Ticket event in Orange County and asked him about the stalled budget.
Is this a dead issue for the year?
Right now, the General Assembly says it's not coming back.
The governor says lawmakers left town without giving teachers the pay raise they deserve and accuses Republicans of refusing his offer to negotiate teacher pay as a standalone item, separate from Medicaid expansion.
I hope that we could have some conversation over the holidays, but they are coming back the 1st of January. I think they're going to hear it from their educators over the holidays about the fact that they have not gotten a decent pay raise.
I've always thought that teacher pay and pay for state employees is one area where we can really compromise.
Guilford County Republican John Hardister says Medicaid expansion remains the holdup. He says teachers have gotten pay raises for 5 straight years and deserve another one this year, noting the GOP budget offers a 2% pay hike in each of the next 2 years.
A 2% pay raise for teachers is going to cost several $100 million. So what we propose now is an average 4% pay raise. If we can adjust it upward, I'm fully supportive of doing it.
The governor's budget proposes a teacher pay hike of nearly 9% over the next 2 years, more than double the amount in the GOP budget.
All of these educators were offered pay raises that were less than other state employees, and that's wrong, and we need to fix it.
There's no update, though. There's no ongoing negotiations at this time?
Not at this point.
We really need to pull this thing together. This impasse has gone on for way too long.
Representative Hardison says getting a deal done on the budget would help school systems such as Guilford County get money they need to hire bus drivers. In Greensboro, I'm Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.
And more news from the state capitol tonight. Forsyth County Republican Deborah Conrad says she will not seek re-election in the state house in 2020. She spent the last 7 years in the General Assembly. A spokesperson for Representative Conrad says she'd like to look at other business and other political opportunities. She is, however, endorsing Louisville Town Councilman Jeff Zenger to fill her seat.
New at 10, a big temporary win for President Trump today. The Supreme Court blocked a request for his financial records. The subpoena for those records came from the House Oversight Committee back in April. It directed the president's accounting firm to turn over several years' worth of financial documents. The subpoena is going to stay on hold now until the president's lawyers file their appeal and the court makes a decision.
New tonight, a setback in the president's effort to keep one of his top aides from testifying in the impeachment inquiry. His administration says it will be appealing a federal judge order that White House counsel Don McGahn must obey a subpoena and appear before Congress. That could lead to renewed efforts by House Democrats to compel testimony from other high-ranking officials, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton. The judge says McGahn can invoke executive privilege where appropriate during his testimony.
The witnesses have spoken, and now the impeachment investigators are making their case against the president. Democratic Chairman Adam Schiff's committee is compiling a report. It will begin to outline whether President Trump engaged in treason, bribery, or high crimes and misdemeanors. The president's accused of withholding military aid and a White House meeting as he pushed Ukraine to investigate his political rival Joe Biden and his family. The president and his supporters say there was no quid pro quo. The report could come as soon as next week, and the House could draw up articles of impeachment by Christmas.